Here's a cool thing to spotlight about the Mrs. Hawking series. Although fair warning, this contains spoilers for Part 4, Gilded Cages, so you might want to check out that episode before you watch this. The character of Colonel Reginald Prescott Hawking looms large over the series.
This is him then? Your late husband?
The Colonel Reginald Prescott Hawking. Yes.
Even though he died a year before Part 1 starts, the characters are constantly talking about him due to the outsized influence he had on their lives.
You look so much like him! Too damn much.
What we know at first is that he was Mrs. Hawking's late husband, an accomplished soldier with the Royal Horse Artillery with a long career of celebrated service behind him. But beyond that, it's a little hard to tell much else about him because all the perspectives we get on him are so varied and biased. Nathaniel speaks adoringly of his childhood hero and beloved uncle.
He was the best man I ever knew. My hero.
Mrs. Hawking carries bitter resentment of him as the unwanted husband who curtailed her life.
Promising young soldier was transferred to a post in Singapore and trammeled up my life forever.
This means that when he finally shows up in his own person in the flashback scenes of Gilded Cages, the audience is primed to want to see just who this person is with their own eyes. This excitement to finally meet a character we've been hearing such disparate things about for 3 stories so far leads us to believe that this is the purpose of the flashbacks in Part 4, to show us who Reginald Hawking really is and how he came into our main character's life. Indeed, this is strongly implied even by Nathaniel's wondering that transitions us from the present into the past.
What in the world happened that it all came to this?
But as this story goes on, we see that Reginald is not the only character we meet in these flashback scenes. We are also introduced to Elizabeth Danvers and Malika Shah, who are ostensibly just Victoria's governess and her maid. Despite the profound effect these 2 women have on our hero's early life, it's easy to assume that's all we need to know about them. But as the present-day story of Gilded Cages reaches its climax, it reveals the presence of these 2 brilliant, dynamic women in the plot all along, making it clear why it was so important to learn just how much they meant to Mrs. Hawking. After all, you can only be betrayed by a friend. We see that Reginald was just a Trojan horse all along to get us into this formative period of Victoria's life. The real point was to meet Malika and Elizabeth. We use the genuine fascination of getting to finally meet the Colonel to obscure the fact that we're also setting up the antagonists of the whole piece. It's a little bit of misdirection that both deepens the characters and sharpens the surprise of the reveal. It's little writing tactics like these that we use to deliver the biggest emotional punch possible as we tell our stories. And you can see how all of this unfolds in Gilded Cages right here on our YouTube channel, @Mrs. Hawking.